anything that comes.
Where's my? Oh,
Squid
okay. Some water,
Games.
my boy.
Who?
Get you some water, my boy.
Yo, you know what happens when you hear this? It's Squid Games time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay. So it's me, Pete, with Negative Nancy over there. About to give you the review on Squid Games episode 6. 5 plus 1, 3 plus 3, 2 plus 4. That's it. 5 plus 1. I already said that. Episode 6. Hello, Philly. How are you today? I'm doing well. Thank
I
you.
was just waiting till you finish. I was just
Goodness
waiting for you to finish. That's
gracious,
all.
man. You think of a co-host trying to help you out a little bit. You just see here.
No, you had it all by yourself. You had it. You was rocking. You was cooking. I was letting you go.
All right.
Loser.
So what's up?
Loser.
Well, the likes ain't
Chilling,
working.
man. New Year's Eve. Hopefully you guys got plans tonight. Remember, don't drink and drive. Get you some yak, your
Yeah.
favorite drink, your gal, your man, whoever that may be.
Oh,
Chill tonight. Maybe watch the ball drop. Or if you're out and about, be careful out there in them streets. People are crazy out there, man. But
crazy,
yeah,
crazy.
last day of 2024.
Man.
You're going to be spending it with us. Thank you for that. For the next 30 or so minutes, doing a quick review over the popular series Squid Game Season 2, Episode 6.
So,
I am
oh,
Philly DC, and this is your co-host, Pete. We are Unpopular Celebrities. We thank you for joining us today. Thank
very
you.
good. Very good. See the sub goal up there at top. So you two sub goal. Let's get some subs up. Sub up.
Sub up.
See if we can go. Oh yeah. Then you can always donate as well. I got to get that up. That's my next thing. Next project today. That's how we spending 2020. Oh, that's pretty good. That's how we spend 2024 getting this thing better, this podcast better. So 2025 is about to be epic. Make sure all the alerts are good and everything like that. So we'll work on that. So anyway, yes. Episode 6. So episode 5, excuse me. Episode 5 ended with the merry-go-round. So now you have episode 6, which looks like the merry-go-round starts and they play their first game, and the first number they pick is, I believe, 10. So they have to grab 10 people and go inside the room before 30 seconds hit. So mass panic, start grabbing people, go inside the room, close the door. A couple people got left out. So they did that about 5, maybe 6 times, and the number changed. The interesting. Do you have anything to add before I get to that last part?
Yeah, forgive us, but as we always say,
Happy New
there
Year.
will be many spoilers throughout this broadcast. So if you have not watched episode 6, please pause this or go watch episode 6 and then watch this again. So a lot of spoiler alerts.
Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. So wait, we'll talk about New Year's Eve resolutions maybe later, maybe another show. All right. So
well, it ain't gonna be another show. It'll be already New Year's.
We'll talk about what if you have one, what it is.
Maybe you sign off, then you sign back on or something.
Okay. So do you have anything to add besides the only part that I found interesting was the last round of the merry-go-round. There's a couple interesting things like when they were picking sides and stuff like that, but nothing really stood out.
Yes.
To me.
Yes. A lot has stood out to me as far as picking the sides. Case in point, the first time they started, at that point, just like the first season, everybody's trying to figure out who get along with each other, like teams and such, like little cliques or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there was one portion, I can't remember how many it was. Oh, I'll get to that in a minute. But there was a part where they started off, it was Gihan 456, the front man, best friend, and I would call Stolen Valor Marine, they all kind of seemed like a clique together. But then they just yanked the shaman and pulled them into the room. So the shaman was in the room with the four I just mentioned, and I believe the transgender um, player and such. And it's this shaman is kind of weird, man. All this spooky. Oh, you're the reason why you guys are all the reason why you lived
Yeah.
because I saved you all. Which last I remember, she didn't know where she was going. They just grabbed her anyway.
Right.
But for some reason, every time the camera pans on her, she always got some secret revelation or saying or something to either 456. Oh, matter of fact, when she was in the room, she was staring at the pregnant player.
Yes.
She just kept staring at her stomach and then she stared at 456. So it seems like she's got something weird going on with 456, the pregnant player, and then also the transgender one. Kind of weird. So you have that one. And then later on in the game, there was a portion where they I forgot how many they called, but the mother and the daughter, the mother and the son were like kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So they were trying to find somebody. They was looking for like somebody to join their team. I can't remember how many.
It was 3.
Okay. So anyway, these group of people went, grabbed their son, and started pulling him. And so he looked back at his mom, was like, "Mom," but it didn't seem like he fought to really. He tried to resist, but it didn't seem like he really tried to resist.
Right.
Because the way the camera focused on him and his mom, it gave me the impression that he wasn't going to really fight those guys. Almost to the point where he was fine with his mom being, killed, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Right.
But it wasn't until after that when the game was well, actually, when she got pulled into the room by the front man, 456, which is pretty evil of the front man because he knew what he was doing when he asked her, like, "Hey, wasn't you with your son?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, yeah, he just got caught up in all I lost him and blah, blah, blah." So he's like, "He didn't come back for you?" And to see her face contort and change to anger, she was really pissed off. So she was really embarrassed that her son left her out there. But you notice when she said that he would never hurt a fly. He would rather be bullied than to bully someone.
Right.
He's not that kind of person. So she was kind of defending him, but disappointed with him in the end.
Right.
So then you had the outpause there.
Yeah. So I mean, better wrap up than I had. The only part I remember is the transgender. I forgot what number it was, but I think it was like 6 or something like that. The transgender was trying to pull her friend into the room, and her friend got pulled back. And then 333, who is the motorcycle rider / baby daddy to player number 222, ended up pushing the transgender back in the room, pulled himself in, and quickly the door quickly locked behind him. So to give them 6 people, which ended up killing the transgender's basically only best friend in the game.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sad. But
they had a connection, clearly a connection. I thought it was going to be a love interest, to be honest.
That's what I thought. Very good.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
Yeah, you said that would have been
And that's
nice.
probably, that would have been nice, man. I thought that would have been nice to see that love interest in there, man. It's just to see. I mean, they've done it a little bit. Maybe they tried in season 1. I thought maybe 456 and a North Korean girl might have had something going on, but she ended up getting killed and stuff.
Right.
But it would have been nice to see. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but when the front man, when they called 2, the 456, the front man, 456's best friend,
330.
and the Stolen Valor Marine was all together. Remember, they were a clique. But when they called 2, you would think naturally Gi Hong would grab his best friend. But you see, when he said 2, the front man immediately grabbed Gi Hun's best friend. Immediately. Which makes me wonder. Anyway, I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I did.
That's strange.
I found it interesting that the front man knew what number was going to be called. Now, the way he did the math made sense, but he's like, it's only 2. There's only 100 rooms left, 126 people. So you better hurry up and go find a room or you're going to be left without. So they called 2. There's a mad dash, mad scramble. I'm still wondering how the old woman and her son got a room, but they ended up getting a room. 001 and 456 were supposed to get a room, but like you said, he grabbed 330, who was 456's best friend, the Marine, and they started running towards a room. That room, I don't know if they got pulled back or that room already had 2 people in it. So 330 grabbed one dude, brought him out. They both got locked into a room, but there's only supposed to be 2, and there was 3 in there. So 001 grabbed old buddy, put him in a chokehold, and then with like a second left, ended up snapping his neck and killing him in front of 330. And he was kind of shocked, but he kind of had to, because if not, all 3 of them were going to die, because you have to have the exact number in the room. So I found that was interesting.
Yeah, as interesting you say that, because he looked at him and like he was like, and he couldn't believe that he killed the guy. But that's the whole point. Because like I think maybe the folks that created this series wanted to show the audience how sinister or evil this person was. But everybody else was doing the same thing. Maybe it's just the look on his face or how immediately he did it. Because there was one point, like you said, when he grabbed Jung Bae, 456 best friend, and was pulling him, and somebody pushed him out the way and he fell on the ground. And then the front man turned around, saw he was being like, he was on the ground. He went out to go grab him, pushed some other dude out the way, grabbed 456's best friend. They go in the room, and then they saw the other guy. Which what I thought was funny is the guy was like, "What do you mean? I was here first, man. We don't get 2 shits about that." Like, yo, it's every man for himself, bro. Let me ask you a question. Would you have done the same thing? Or would you have tried to push him out the room? Yeah.
Yes. At that point in the game, I ain't got no choice. I ain't got enough time to get him out the room. I ain't gonna wrestle with this dude.
Yeah, I guess.
What would you have done?
That's just, I don't know. I guess I didn't see the time, but when he was choking him, it counted down to like, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're right. You wouldn't have had enough time. That's not the time to be polite.
Right. I'm wondering why 330. Well, 330 was trying to hold the door because old buddy was trying to get in. So 330 couldn't even help. He was trying to hold the door closed. So yeah, that's all he had. I mean, that's really all he could do.
Yeah, what could you do at that point?
So that was the end of the game. A lot of people died in that game. So they were down to 100. And of course they went to the vote.
Before we go to the vote, I want to talk about that funny part with Thanos. And the guy, he was like, they called a number out. He looked at the guy. He was like, rock, paper, scissors, go. And the guy just shoots out the joint. He's like, you go. He kicked the dude out the way, whoever that was. Come on, you with me, my boy. He just grabs him. And the whole time, him and this little flunky is like smiling the whole time. And that's what he did the second time, too. He just like, all right, you, me, go. Huh. Woohoo! Then he comes out and he says, we back at him, my boy. And the guy was like, skirt. Yeah,
my boy.
Well, look like,
I was trying to find the Squid Game or one. I don't have it. I wish it would.
It don't look like he's gonna last very long though. But that was a funny part.
Nah,
my man Thanos, boy.
But so you had that, and then they go back inside and they got to do a vote. And remember, there's 50 people, so they're going back and forth, and it seems like they came up with a number that they needed 6 more people from O's to X's in order to win or to break even. And it ended up that 6 people went from O to X, and it came down to the front man, 001, for the last vote. And he voted to X to stop the game, which ended up in a tie. So nobody knew what to do in the tie. So basically, the guard, the soldier, said, "We'll come back tomorrow and do the vote again." So they got to do the vote again the next day. But that quickly divided the teams, or divided the game between your X's and O's, like tic-tac-toe pretty much. But so they're on their two different sides, like sleeping on two different sides, sitting on two different sides, eating on two different sides. It's just like a big wall of China between them. And the O's are staying with the O's and the X are staying with the X's. Anything to add with that, or I miss anything?
Yeah, it's just like the last couple of games where folks are gonna have to make a critical decision, and it's interesting how 456 best friend who voted initially to continue the games is now telling them like, "Hey, look," because it's funny, like right when they were counting, I think the Stolen Valor Marine was like, "Hey, we're tied if everybody votes the same way or whatever," and he was like, and they looked at him. He's like, he looked at he like kind of looked at his chest, was like, "Oh no, I'm going to vote to leave. You know, I'm going to change mine."
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's almost like he kind of thought about it or whatever. And so there was a conversation between Gi Hung 456 and the front man 001. And Gi Hung was like, "Hey, look, we need to figure out a way to kind of change these people's minds, you know, because there's a chance we may end up having to stay again." And the front man was like, "Look, I think that's a bad idea. If we do that, that may turn them against each other." And so they kind of had like a staring match where they were going back and forth because Gihon was like, "You want us to just stay calm and wait? You know, we need to force them on our side." So it's interesting. Like there is a portion where I think that was a time where 456 was usually kind of like thinking of doing things, I guess, the right way, I guess, so to speak. But at that one point, he was in so much in desperation, he was willing to try to force people to bring them over to his side. And the front man was like, "No, I don't think that's the right thing." And if you notice, the camera focused on Stolen Valor Marine and his best friend because they was agreeing with the front man. Because it was like, "Hey, I think we can get these guys to change their minds or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think they're not going to want to keep risking their lives or whatever." So I thought that was interesting. Man, that's a sinister dude, man.
Yeah, I like him. 001.
Sinister.
I like
Yeah,
him.
he's
I like
he's
his
turned into
character.
my favorite character,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Besides a transgender person.
Yeah.
Transgender, that dude, the transgender player, go hard, man. But anyway,
Yeah.
so you have that. So anyway, I'll pause there.
Yeah, so they do the vote, like I said. It's a 50-50 split. They said what happens. They said you come back the next day and figure that out. I find it interesting. They said no interference with the game, or any interference is going to be penalized or is not prohibited, something like that. So nobody said nothing the whole time, except for Thanos was wilding out. He's on his Molly or whatever the hell he's on.
Let's play again.
Yeah. You remember last episode they said that it was that was the last game. They said just one more. So if you look at it, if they would have stopped, they each would have went from 57,000 to 247,000. This is US dollars. I can't remember how much it was in won, but they walk away with over 200,000 US dollars. But so they're a 50-50 split. But the thing I'm tripped out about, they said the next day, but don't they play a game every day?
Yeah.
So they're gonna
But see,
vote
since
before
there
the
was
game?
since this was a tie, they have to vote again, but he wanted them to wait. And I think there's a purpose, there's a reason for that. I'm just speculating, but if you remember season 1, there was a time near the end where the folks in the room turned on each other
Right.
and started trying to eliminate people to get more money. And
Right.
maybe that's what's going to happen.
True. God dog. So fast forward to they're kind of arguing while they're eating. The X guy stands up and he's talking trash. The O guy stands up, they're talking trash. The dude,
old bastard.
Stolen Valor, man. That dude cracked me up because he got up. He's like, "I'm a Marine."
I'm a Marine. They're like, "Hey, I'm in the Air Force if you're in the Marine." Yo, you know what's funny? That dude was like, well, first off, before I ask this question, obviously you've been to Korea.
Yeah.
Have you or anybody in the comments ever ate gingbo? What
I
the
don't know
heck
what
is
that
that?
is. I don't know what that is.
I mean, I've had bulgogi,
Yeah.
kimchi, I forgot the other one, but I've never had gingbo. But anyway, so the old man stands up. I think it was an old man. He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You guys, let's go. Let's keep playing to see how many of you guys are going to die tomorrow, whatever."
Right. Right.
I was like, something's wrong with this dude, man.
Like what happened, man? But
Yeah.
so yeah, so they so something happened. How did the bathroom scene start?
I can't remember how they ended up in the bathroom, but it shows a scene where transitions to the scene when Thanos was like, "Come on, my boy, open the door, my boy," and his flunky, typical high school stuff, is over top of one of the stalls, looking down like, "Hey, look, man, you disappointed us, man. Like you were supposed to vote on our side, but you didn't. You know, you vote on our side, we'll protect you." And
Mm-hmm.
so the guy tries to get out the stall. Thanos greets him, pushes him back in, and pretty much was like threatening him, like, "Hey, look, you know, you better vote for our side. You disappointed me, whatever." But then the Bitcoin guy comes up. I will call him MG Coin because that's who Thanos calls him all the time, which I think is funny. He says he yells to all the other people because in the bathroom at the time, you had players from the X side and you had players from the Circle side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they all ended up in there going to the bathroom, but he's like, "Hey, the guys from the other side, from the Circle side, is trying to get our X side, intimidate them." And it's like, "Yeah, that's not against the rules. Why don't you leave them alone, whatever." And so Thanos looks at him, was like, "What's wrong, my boy? You high?" You know, what I
My
mean? He was
boy.
like, "Hey, look, you're breaking the rules. You can't do blah blah blah." And then the flunky of Thanos was like, "Hey, I think this guy's acting weird. Remember the time we saw him and his girl earlier? They was having an argument. I think
Yep.
that's why he's acting kind of weird with the
Yep.
pregnant girl, right?"
Yep.
And so Thanos was like, "Huh." He's like, "Yeah, you know, after I get out of here." He leaned over and whispered to him, which every man does not want to hear. I don't care if you're a wimp. I don't care if you can't fight, but when somebody tells you they're going to do something to your girl for some reason, no matter how big that person is, you're going to go all in. You might
Fact.
get the snot kicked out
It's
you,
go
right?
time. Yep.
But the guy was scared the whole show until he said, "I'm going to ask your girl out." Then he was like, "You leave her alone, you bastards," or whatever. And so somehow, oh yeah, Thanos says something else. He was like, "Yeah, something else about his girl." And so MG Coin swings. It was a bad swing. He easily missed him.
Right.
Thanos just clocks him. And then the fight's on. Everybody go at each other. It was like a scene from the Warriors, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
West
saying?
Side Story.
Or
Yeah.
from what's that show? Anchorman, when they was out there and they had the little baseball
Never
bats,
seen
whatever. It
it.
was something like that. You never saw Anchorman?
Mm-mm.
Wow, that's another story for another day. But anyway, so they're out there fighting. So Thanos is getting the better MG Coin, gets him on the ground, starts hitting him. He says, "Your girl, your life, your money is all mine." And he's intending on killing this guy.
Yeah, he's
But
mounted
then a
on top of
camera, he's mounting over top of the guy.
him.
The camera shows Thanos kind of trying to squeeze him, like strain to squeeze him. And then his eyes open up. And then the camera pans down. There's a fork in the bottom of his neck. And so it ends.
Yeah. So it gives the impression that Thanos is dead, which a couple of interesting things with that is Thanos is the main character as far as intimidating people. He has his lackey, he has a couple other people on his team, and he's also an X player, or excuse me, an O player, wants to keep the game going. So if he's dead, now all of a sudden the X's outnumber the O's, and they got to vote again in the morning. I don't know if anybody's else dead, but that's where we're at right now with that.
Mhm.
I find it interesting, and there's only one more episode left.
Yeah.
There's still what, 2 games at least to go.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't think we're going to get to him. That's why there's going to be a season 3.
Yeah, really disappointing. I hope season 3 starts in January, but
Oh, you know that ain't going to happen.
yeah, really disappointing, I guess, how it's ending, how it's shaping up, because I just thought it would go a lot faster. We didn't even talk about 011, didn't really have a part in this episode.
What you mean by apart? What do you mean?
She didn't really have a big. It kind of paused with her. They just said like, "I'm glad you're behaving now, so we don't have to mess up your pretty
Oh,
face."
you're talking about 11.
Yeah, 011. I said
Yeah,
zero
yeah,
zero
yeah.
one. I'm sorry, 011.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
So she I'm kind of confused, but 246, 248, whatever the guy's name who has the boy that went to the hospital,
Mhm.
he had a bigger role this episode. Forgot to mention that. He came out and saved supposedly the transgender and her best friend when there was
Mhm.
only three, and it was like, this is
Yep.
our knight in shining armor. And she
Mhm.
was like, yeah, and he's handsome like it too. And so he was like, it was my honor, or they saved me, or whatever. So he had a bigger part to play. Seemed like he got into with a couple groups. But he's also, I think he's an O player. He's somebody who wants to keep the game going. I think.
No, he was X.
Oh,
He
he
was
was X for
X.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
Mhm.
so we'll see what part he has to play as he gets more into the episode. But that's
Mhm.
it. That's really episode 6. One more episode to go. This has been fun. Doing a recap, saying our opinions. My question to you is, if you had to play the merry-go-round game, I forgot what it's called. How do you think you would fare?
I would die probably.
That would be it.
I don't know if I have I don't know if my behavior is the type that could survive a game like that where you have to cheat somebody to win. I don't think I'm good
Mm,
at that. I think morally, obviously I would try to like get on teams and stuff, but if I had to like pull somebody out, like I would do it for my wife,
okay.
you know what I mean? But for myself, I probably wouldn't do it. I probably would try to save somebody so I
Oh,
would
I damn
die.
sure ain't saving nobody. But I also think that'd be the game that I wouldn't make it on. I'm not too much of a friendly guy. I don't make friends too easy.
Wow.
So I think I would get left behind on you know, yeah, I think I'd get left by. My only advantage was I'd be by myself. So if somebody needed one person, I'd be better at that. But that's my only advantage I would have.
So I can see myself like those 3 people in the room, and the guy was like, "Yo, I don't think they noticed," because there were people still left out there. They only needed 1 more person, but for
Exactly.
whatever reason, they didn't get it. I could see myself doing that and saying, "Hey, we're good. They're not gonna notice," end up getting shot.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
the other interesting question. Like, every time like, you know what was gonna happen. If you don't make it to the end of the game, what's gonna happen. Nobody try to rush the guard. I'm gonna go. I ain't going out like no sucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna at least try to rush it in a blaze of glory. But like it's just they're like, no, 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 like
Yeah, like
they're not gonna you know what I mean? It's weird.
yeah, they should know. Leave in the comments when y'all watch this back what level or how do y'all think y'all would fare in this merry-go-round game? Do y'all think y'all would make it to the end? Do y'all think it would this would be the end? Because this was a kind of interesting game, and like McWilliams said, a lot of treachery went on during this game. Um, you had old buddy and his best friend, his only friend with Thanos' group. The only girl and guy got along in Thanos' group. They're not friends no more because he left her behind. She was like,
Mhm.
"Come with me. It'll just be me and you. We just got to grab somebody else." And they said, "Rock paper scissors." He said, "She was like this," and he said, "Ooh,
You
all
out.
right, come
You with
on."
me, my boy.
Yeah. So interesting. But yeah, that was
I
episode 5. One more, or excuse me, damn it,
I
6. 6. One more episode to go. One more to go.
I I wanted to quickly highlight when the mother and son got separated and they were reunited after that specific round. His son was like so distraught because of what he did to his mom, and he was crying, and she was like, "It's okay, we both made it." But when the whole games was over and they were when that round was over, they were back on the merry-go-round. The camera focused on the mother and the son, and you could see him holding on to his mom real tight. So that tells me he really appreciated his mom even more after almost losing her. And when I
Mhm.
thought about that, man, I was like, you know what? That is that is like a hidden, um there's something hidden to not hidden so much, but something to really dwell on. A lot of times people don't realize what they have until they almost lose it. Because you notice before those games, one, he was asking why his mom was there.
Right.
Two, he voted against his mom on
Right.
continuing the games. And then three, he was mostly focused on him winning the money. And
Right.
she was there to try to save her son. But it wasn't until he thought he lost his mom that he started really holding on to her after that. So I
Right.
was like, that was a good message. And then the last thing I'll say too is it seems like the more the games go on, the unfortunate thing is the more it proves that the front man is right about the whole thing of the games.
Oh, of course.
Like
Yeah.
it just it really it's it's kind of sad and depressing when you think about it. Because like the more they risk their lives, the more people get killed and gunned down in front of them, they all continue to keep playing. Not all, but a good majority of them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Shout out Chief Golf for the 100 stars sent. Really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
And then he has a message for everybody. It's really small, but I'll read it. For all my Southern folks, here's your reminder. Number 1, put your laundry in right away. No washing clothes on New Year's Day. Number 2, put your ham hocks or turkey necks in the slow cooker now for 8 hours. Number 3, soak your black eyed peas in the fridge overnight. Number 4, make sure you have some cash in your pocket at midnight. Rub it in a little when the clock strikes midnight. Rub it a little when the clock strikes midnight. Number 5, tomorrow morning, slow cook your black eyed peas. Number 6, share love with your loved ones and neighbors. Number 7, make 2025 the best year yet. So there you go.
Yeah, I suspect that there's a lot of Southern blood in Chad's veins. No
Yeah.
lies detected there.
He said,
No lies detected there. Have you ever eaten ham hocks before?
Yeah.
You had ham hocks.
Yeah.
You, Mr. Uppity,
My
Mr.
auntie
Dead
is from
Flanders.
Louisiana.
Really? What about
Yeah.
black eyed peas?
Yeah, had that too.
Okay. I know you said we're over 30 minutes. I'm more than happy if you want to stick around after we sign off and get back on and discuss New Year's. If not, it's all good.
Yeah, we could do that. We could make a little New Year's thing.
Yo, if anybody that's listening, man, we're gonna sign off for like a couple of minutes. We're gonna jump on. We're gonna just impromptu talk some regular New Year's, whatever. Think of it as the after party. So
Chad laughing
once
because
he gets you some water.
Mr. Uppity.
Yeah,
for
Mr.
sure.
Uppity.
All right. Squid Games, season 2, episode 6. Done, over with. One more episode. New Year's Day 2025. We're going to begin it with episode 7. Recap. Maybe we'll just do a recap of the whole Squid Game season 2, kind of our feelings in upcoming season 3. So it'll be a little bit longer one. Recap episode 7 and go through there. But really appreciate y'all, unpopular celebrities. We'll be back in a little bit. It's not gonna.
We'll see y'all next time. We're gonna jump on a couple of minutes, but until then, we'll see y'all later, my boy.